always. Not waiting for the footman to open the door, Charity pulled down on the latch and drew in a reviving breath of fresh air. Everywhere verdant leaves rustled with the easy breeze, while the song of a willow warbler greeted them. The house appeared to be much the same as she remembered it. Though the shutters were askew on the lower windows, it was wonderful to see the old manor after their brief visit several weeks ago. Chorlock hopped down from his perch at the rear of the carriage and offered his hand. "My lady." Charity placed her fingers in his palm. "Thank you." "Shall I give the knocker a rap?" the footman asked as she allowed him to help her alight. "Please do." Glad to be standing on the sturdy ground, Charity brushed out her skirts while Chorlock assisted Modesty and Georgette. "I'm surprised Willoughby isn't waiting on the stoop. He ought to be expecting us." "He's most likely in the garden, enjoying a cordial," said Modesty, following Chorlock up the 3 steps. As the footman reached for the knocker, the door opened. "My lady!" squawked Willoughby. The old English butler gaped like an owl. His usually immaculate coiffure mussed, and his eyes as round as silver guineas. "Thank the stars you've arrived." Clutching her reticule against her midriff, Charity hastened up the steps. "Whatever has happened?" Willoughby stepped back and ushered the ladies inside. "What hasn't happened is more apt. I give you my word, if one more disaster befalls us this day, the manor's bricks are likely to crumble about our feet." Though the house had been neglected for some years, Martin had recently seen to the most critical repairs. Nonetheless, it wasn't like the butler to be at his wits' end. For the most part, Willoughby's nature was stoic and staid, and he usually carried out his duties with a dour frown that made his jowls sag all the more. "Is the masonry giving way?" she asked. "Not that I know of." "Then what, pray tell, has you in such a dither?" Modesty sidled toward the open door. "It is with the utmost urgency that I visit the barn to ensure my pony is housed in the best stall. We must have a proper serving of oats as well." Charity waved the lass off while Georgette made an escape for the stairs. "I'll set to unpacking straight away, my lady." As Charity returned her attention to Willoughby, the butler raked his fingers through his thinning hair, making unruly spikes stand on end. "I sacked the groundskeeper this morning." "Sacked?" Charity asked, somewhat aghast. True, Willoughby was in charge of the male servants of the house, but the groundskeeper reported to the master of the manor, and at the moment she was fulfilling that role. "Whatever for?" "Imbibing in too much spirits. The man—" Willoughby clapped a hand over his mouth and shook his head. "I cannot say it." "Nay, the Duke has appointed me as the lady of this house. I may be a tad inexperienced, but His Grace felt that I would benefit immensely by taking on this responsibility. I insist you relay the entire story." She rolled her hand and offered an encouraging nod. "You mentioned he was inebriated." "More than once, and—" The butler checked over his shoulder and then leaned nearer. "This morning he was dancing on the lawn, wearing—" Charity asked, wondering why, since they were all alone, Willoughby was whispering. "Not a stitch of clothing." "Oh!" Quite certain she had turned the colour of the scarlet ribbon securing her bonnet atop her head, she turned toward the wall, taking a sudden interest in the life-sized portrait of the former Earl of Brixham, her sister-in-law's father. "Well, then," she managed, doing her best to project an air of calm, "I should thank you for sparing me from such an unsavoury task." "Yes, of course, my lady. But what am I to do with—" He gestured toward the closed doors of the front parlour with his thumb. "Them." "Them?" "The ladies," he whispered. "Ladies?" "3 of them." Charity blinked. 3 ladies? Did this mean boarders had arrived already? She pulled Willoughby as far away from the parlour doors as possible and lowered her voice. "But everyone agreed we wouldn't open Huntley to ladies until I had a chance."